Hello and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. Today we are actually doing a recording for NCAA March Madness. My name is Dilbert, and joining me today is Wingus the Dingus.
Dilbert and Dingus break
Yeah,
down March Madness. That is today's show.
if you're
But
familiar, if you're familiar with the comic strip Dilbert.
I mean, what happened to you? We were known as the bearded council for a long time. We even got comments on YouTube thinking us and the intern were triplets because we all had glasses and had beards. And now look at you getting rid of it. This I don't even think we're allowed to have people without beards on the show, but here we are.
Two things: one, I did it to mess with my family. Two, technically it wasn't supposed to be part of this show today. So, shout out to our guest. Hope you get better. Yeah, let's kick it off. We are gonna do a debate of
Yeah.
every game in the tournament.
Absolutely, and of course, we let off sounding like doofuses, and we will be very entertaining throughout this. But we'll provide you some good nuggets as well to help you pick your brackets during this March Madness season.
Yeah, pay
So,
attention to Wingus the Dingus, not Dilbert.
we will be doing this region by region. So it's on to the South region. We get started with Florida taking on the winner of Lehigh and Prairie View. I will be in attendance for Lehigh and Prairie View, so I'm very excited for that. My first ever NCAA tournament game I've gone to attend is a very random one, but I'm very excited for it. Unfortunately, probably not much of a shot at taking down Florida here.
No, I don't think so. Florida's really good.
I was really hoping, like when they were announcing it, that like Lehigh would show up next to Duke. Matching them up with Duke again would have been so diabolical. Um, Clemson and Iowa. This game feels like it's going to be a lot of points.
Yes.
Both teams love to score. You've got a Clemson team that kind of, I don't know, both these teams are kind of difficult to figure out because like they're both just kind of there.
Yeah.
They were very solid. They did enough to be like solidly in the tournament, but they did no more.
Yeah, I want to do the 9 seed over the 8 seed, and I think that's how a lot of people are seeing this game is like Iowa has a pretty good chance of winning this, but I mean, I don't know. It's like a crappier version of the game I mentioned before, the Yukon Michigan State game. It's like that, but a crappier version. So like, I don't know. Part of me just says like because there's always that 1 8 seed that moves on. So part of me says that Clemson can pull this one off.
I know. I feel like Iowa's going to be a popular pick, so maybe we go Clemson here just to kind of go against the grain a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
You gotta like the setup here for Florida though, because these two teams are not at all threatening to the Gators. Um, Although what will be threatening the Gators, maybe one of these teams. So Vanderbilt and McNeese face off. Vanderbilt, obviously, a really strong, resurgent year. McNeese is a team that is there. They're basically the same team they have been the last few years. They, even though if they're under a new coach, extremely strong on defense. They love to force turnovers, love to rebound. This is a dangerous underdog team, but Vanderbilt is also just a very good favorite. This is a tough one.
It seems like the 6-11 seed is now the 5-12, so picking like a 12 over a 5 no longer makes as much sense as it used to. I don't know. This is one that I kind of want to pick McNeese State.
I know, I know. Like and the funny thing is though, like I look at this quadrant of teams here. We'll be talking about Nebraska and Troy in a moment. Like I'm looking at this, like I have no idea who comes out of this. No matter what, whoever comes out of it is going to be like pretty much a new face in the Sweet 16. So that part is exciting. I'm very excited to see what this group of four teams does. Um, but you know what? McNeese is actually rated as the most dangerous of the 12 seeds. So I don't know. I think I'm willing to go with it. I think we go with McNeese to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a formula for picking this that gets you like two more picks than everybody else, just because like nobody's made it very far in these, but I don't know. There's always a formula of at least one 12 seed wins and at least one 8 seed wins. Like they're the first round games. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm perfectly okay with McNeese moving on. In fact, I would rather see all upsets on this list.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? We gotta represent the Southland Conference a little bit. That is a conference that's been really good to us. So yeah, let's have McNeese moving on here. We go to Nebraska and Troy. Nebraska is still looking for their first ever NCAA tournament win, but then you have Troy here, kind of a sneaky underdog team. Troy started out the year basically playing their entire first 10 games on the road. They were pretty impressive in that stretch. Like they won at Kent State, should have been USC. They were like triple overtime and completely blew like a big lead. And they beat San Diego State. Like this Troy team showed that they can hang with some really good teams, but they weren't consistent. I'm very curious to see how this one goes. What are your first thoughts on it?
Nebrasketball. I like that's all. That's all.
Yeah, I also think like just in our specific bracket here, like we have big knees going. It's been a very long time since the 12 or 13 has made the Sweet 16. So our best bet is to have Nebraska moving on in this game. And then we have North Carolina and VCU. The Tar Heels kind of beat up a little bit. They're dealing with some injuries right now too. VCU ended the year hot. Their defense, they're playing good defense beyond just forcing turnovers now. Early in the year, they relied on forcing turnovers. They couldn't do that. They usually struggled on defense, but later in the year, they're doing a good job of that. Their offense is looking really good. Who do you think here?
6-11 upset, baby. Uh, UNC's best player is out until September.
Here's the thing though, like I really want to pick VCU, but it feels like every year, like they're in a decent they end up with like a decent game that it feels like they could win, and lately they just have not won it. I don't know.
That's why I think VCU. We watched them yesterday. So
We
the
did.
recording is Monday. Posting probably a
Yeah.
different day. We hung out on Sunday and we watched them break the hearts of every Duke or Dayton fan in attendance. And I don't know. I kind of liked what I saw from VCU. They kind of ended that game earlier than I thought they would.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. We can have VCU moving on there. I'm not going to complain about that. Um, Illinois and Penn. We get an old Big Ten rematch here. Brad Underwood versus Fran McCaffrey. I cannot believe we get these two facing off again. Fran McCaffrey getting Penn in the tournament in his first year there. Um, I mean, on a team called the Quakers, it's just what an incredible combination for Fran McCaffrey. Do you think Fran has one in them, or Illinois kind of just roll here?
I think I want to pick Penn so bad. I really do. But I think Illinois is one of those where you can like pretty much just move him out of the first round and then see where the matchups go from there. Especially in this case. I mean, Penn's best player this season. I think that he's going to come back on the. I think he'll be back for that game, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I saw it today. It sounded like he was going to be back.
But still, coming off of an injury, Last game of the year, Brent can't hold anything back now. Um, I think Illinois gets it.
Yeah, I think the one thing here is like both coaches know each other well. Now, obviously, Fran being down the Penn now, like he gets to be a little bit more weird with the schemes and everything. But ultimately, I think the two coaches know each other well, and in that case, talent probably wins out. So we go to St. Mary's and Texas A&M. I mean, talk about two contrasting styles. St. Mary's is going to slow it down, play tough defense, not give you any easy shots. Texas A&M, on the other hand, they want to create chaos. They want to speed it up, play buckyball. Who do you think wins this one?
I don't know. Texas A&M feels like they're one of those SEC teams that just made it in because they're SEC. Like there's a few other ones above them, but like it that like they're like on the cusp of that line, you know. Um, I kind of want to say St. Mary's.
Yeah, I agree. St. Mary's is usually good to win a game. They don't ever seem to win more beyond that, but they usually are good enough to at least go and win one game. Which, by the way, St. Mary's, if you've never seen images of their campus is one of the coolest looking campuses in the country. We go to Houston and Idaho, the Vandals making their first appearance since 1990 when they played basketball in the Kibby Dome. They were absolutely electric back then. They had incredible home environments, but it's been a long time coming for Idaho, a team that really, for a lot of the year, just felt like they weren't doing living up to their potential. But then the conference tournament in Starch Madness, they absolutely lit it up. This team loves to shoot threes. So really, they just rely on whether the threes are going to hit or not. But man, this Houston team, just a relentless defense. Their defense is out to inflict pain.
I mean, that's stereotypical Houston basketball, though. At least
Yeah,
what we've seen the past few years. I want to pick the Vandals so bad, but the Cougars, they get it. We're big
I
fans
was
of anything Big Sky related, so we really
yeah
want to see
I
them beat Big
was
Sky.
I was so sad when I saw this is who Idaho was going to play. I was just like, no, of all the two seeds, not Houston. Yeah, this Houston team just makes everybody they play miserable. And usually they're a very safe high seed to pick. So that's another key there. We go to Florida and Clemson. I think we kind of hinted at this earlier, but I mean, I don't really think we see Clemson having much of a shot in this one against the
Not
Gators.
really. I mean, I don't think either the 8 seed or 9 seed there gets a chance in that game.
Yeah,
So if we could just chalk Florida over one more.
yep. And then Nebraska and McNeese. It would sure be cool to have McNeese moving on to the Sweet 16, going one further than they did last year. Obviously, they would really be the story of the tournament then. Last year, they were still the story of the tournament. But Nebraska ball, I think we're going to have them moving on just simply for bracket purposes. It's usually, again, it's been a long time since a 12 or 13 has gone to the Sweet 16. So it's good practice for us to have Nebraska moving on there. And then VCU and Illinois. Um, this is another second round matchup. I'm not sure if, as someone who wants to see chaos in the upset, I don't know if I like the second round matchup.
No,
I like how VCU is playing down the stretch. They're playing really good. Maybe they can give Illinois a run for their money, but this Illinois team, when they're hitting, like they have too much firepower.
VCU has enough to beat down an already bleeding out UNC team. They don't really have it in the tank to take down a top program. So, Illinois.
Yeah, I agree. And then we got St. Mary's in Houston. Yet another game that just feels kind of obvious. I mean, both teams are tough on defense, but St. Mary's, usually in the second round of the tournament. This is usually the point where their offense tends to hold them back. Now, their offense is actually pretty solid this year, but against Houston, I feel like that's kind of one of those games where St. Mary's just struggles to score, and Houston takes off.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, now things get interesting here with our Sweet 16 matchups. We kind of second round was pretty easy to pick there, but I think it gets a little bit harder to make our picks in Sweet 16. Florida and Nebraska. Can this magical run for Nebraska keep going? They've gone past the point where they had their first tournament win. They've gone to the Sweet 16. Now, can they take down the Florida Gators, or do the Gators move on?
On one hand, you don't normally see many one seeds making it very far in the tournament. Usually around the Sweet 16, you're starting to see some upsets. On the other hand, basketball, they're hit or miss.
And the one thing I'll mention here is that Nebraska doesn't rebound very well. If those shots are not falling, they're not going to get another opportunity. And I think this is a game where Florida can really dominate them on the board.
Yeah. I would say that this is a very winnable game for Nebraska ball, but they got to be on. They can't be like, oh, we'll kind of make some shots here. Like you got to be on and you got to be ready to play. And I think just for the board's perspective, I think in this one, I kind of want to chalk another one seed further.
Yeah. In most years, you typically do see a one seed fall early, but this year, the hard part is these one seeds are just different. They are, this is the second year in a row where we have an extremely good group one seeds. So that's something to watch. And then Houston and Illinois, I mean, I just cannot pick against Houston here.
Me neither.
I feel like Houston's defense is just too good. In general, they're just such a good team. And again, a very safe high seed to pick as well.
Yeah.
And
Another
you,
1-2 matchup.
I know, I promise we're not going to do this the whole way, but I saw Houston. Like I actually feel like there were five teams, maybe even six with UConn that are at the talent level of a one seed. And that's why we started this out with 2 1-2 matchups. Houston versus Florida. I kind of like Houston in this one.
I do too.
I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulders a little bit. They had Florida beat in the championship last year and let it slip away. I think this is going to be a game where they have the target on their back there and get that done. So hey, at the very least, we have two seats in the Final Four. No
And
one
no one
seats
seeds
yet.
yet.